Hi, I'm Scott Wolf, and I want to tell you about when Disneyland was almost taken over by Kermit the Frog. Seriously. Jack Lindquist was Disney's marketing guru. He started working at Disneyland during its first year in 1955 and never seemed to be at a loss for fascinating marketing ideas. Grad nights and Disney dollars are just a couple of his ideas that were big successes. Ultimately, he became the head of marketing for Disney's parks worldwide and then the president of Disneyland. Jack had a knack at getting people into the parks. His special marketing events, which would often last 2 or 3 months, would bring people in during those times that were traditionally lower attendance. In 1989, Jim Henson made an agreement with Disney for them to acquire his beloved Muppets, as you can see here in this Disney News magazine. This Disney hotline is what we received at the studio when there was really big news. I saved this one because I was so excited about it. In this, Jim was quoted as saying, "I've enjoyed running my own company, but now I am really excited about joining forces with Michael Eisner and the Disney organization and finding out how much more we can accomplish together for our audiences all over the world." This new agreement got Jack thinking. He told me about an idea that he proposed for one of those marketing events, and it would introduce the Muppets in Disneyland, and in a big way. I want you to hear the conversation when Jack told me about it. Now, this was in a very crowded restaurant. Jack was gracious enough to let me pull out a voice recorder during our lunches, but these weren't intended to be heard by the public. Rather, they were from my own archives of first-hand stories from remarkable people like Jack. I hope all the restaurant noise doesn't take away from your enjoyment of hearing Jack's unique idea.
When we bought the Muppets, I had this crazy idea.
Yeah?
I wanted Kermit to have a press conference with Mickey and Minnie at the park. And Mickey would say, "You know, I've been here for 35 years and I'm going to take a vacation for a couple of months. And while I'm gone, I've asked my old buddy Kermit," and Kermit said, "Oh, Mickey, you know, I'll take good care of it for you. Have a good time." Mickey and Minnie would go off, and the next day, and this had to be done overnight, takes a big sign on Harbor Boulevard that says Disneyland, remember the old marquee, and do it Kermitland. I wanted to paint the Matterhorn green and then run a series of ads saying, you know, you put up with that little mouse for 35 years, now let somebody really knows I'm Mr. Showbiz. Yeah. And do it for about 3 months. See, you got to play everything totally straight. You can't try to say, "Oh, it's just a promotion we're doing." I think people would have loved it.
Jack told me they also would have a whole line of merchandise to accompany the event, including t-shirts and hats. The Muppet promotion gained a lot of momentum during that time. Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln would temporarily be replaced with Muppet Vision 3D, which was being created for the upcoming Disney MGM studios. Upon entering the park, guests would not see the floral display of Mickey Mouse, but rather it would be replaced with Kermit. There was even a whole Muppet parade planned. This all came to a halt when Jim Henson died suddenly in 1990. I still remember sitting in my office at the studio when someone told me about that. I was shocked. He was only 53 years old. This is the Disney Newsreel, our studio newsletter. I feel so lucky to have met him on the studio lot one time, even if it was just for a brief encounter. I was such a huge fan of Jim Henson and the Muppets. But I've got to admit, I was just a bit relieved that Jack's Muppet event never happened, especially learning that Mickey and his pals would have no presence in the park, even if it was just temporary. I certainly don't fault Jack for that idea. People might have loved it, like he said, and I do think it would have drawn people to Disneyland to see it. I sure miss being able to get together with Jack and to hear his great stories, but I'm so glad he never minded me recording, and I'm glad I get to share his stories with you. Thanks for watching, for learning a little bit more about Jack, and for keeping the magic alive.